Wildcats lose this game against the Oregon Ducks. The final score, Arizona Wildcats 75 to the Oregon Ducks 83. Um, there was a few things that I was kind of looking at that in the beginning, before this game started, then Ryan Anderson was saying, from the University of Arizona, was saying that he's going to try and defend against Dylan Brooks for the Oregon Ducks, and it's going to be a task for him to do that. And then, after the game, then I saw. I don't like to watch clips after the game, or like what anybody says about the game or anything like that, so that I just have my own mind what's going on. I don't know anything else about what anybody else is doing, or the coach or players or anything. But by accident I saw what he said, because it was such a heated game against Miller for the U of A, and Tarczewski got in a big argument. I think there was the F word was thrown around there. Miller said something to his Tarczewski, but there was also a 49-game winning streak, a home winning streak on the line for the University of Arizona Wildcats whenever they played against Oregon Ducks, and so when they lost, that streak ends for the U of A. So that was a 3-year streak, I think, or something like that. So no more U of A streak, 49 win streak. But Ryan Anderson was going to defend against Dylan Brooks, and after the game, then Ryan Anderson apologized to the fans and to to everybody that the U of A didn't put their best foot forward and played crappy and things like that. And Miller was also saying, I think, that he's never been so disappointed in the University of Arizona Wildcats basketball ever in his. I think he's been a coach for 7 or 8 years for the University of Arizona Wildcats. So it was a couple of things, and then why I'm saying all this is because I noticed I was paying a little bit more attention maybe to Anderson and his defensive breakdowns against Brooks, and I don't know if that was good or bad, or maybe I looked a little bit harder at Anderson or what it was. But Brooks, Dylan Brooks from the Oregon Beavers, he had 10. He capitalized off of 10 defensive breakdowns from the Arizona Wildcats. Ryan Anderson had 8 defensive breakdowns, which is the largest I've ever seen anyone have that many defensive breakdowns for the University of Arizona Wildcats. So he had 8 defensive breakdowns, and 7 of those defensive breakdowns were against Dylan Brooks. And Dylan Brooks is also a forward. So, just like Ryan Anderson is a forward, then I didn't, I was kind of hoping, but the thing about it is Dylan Brooks just did some really nice plays. He used the backboard as a shield sometimes. So it's not like Anderson didn't try. Most of the time, he tried most of the time, and there was some breakdowns that were pretty bad on Anderson's part. But you know, whenever, because I knew that Anderson was telling us that he was going to play against Brooks, defend against Brooks, but I'm wondering if Tarczewski, um, the heated argument that Tarczewski had with Miller, if that's what caused Tarczewski to kind of let off a little bit on his defense on Brooks. Maybe he could have helped out Ryan Anderson a little bit as far as defending against Brooks, because 10 defensive breakdowns, that's really bad. And usually Sean Miller, Coach Miller, does not allow one player to get off that many defensive breakdowns. He usually throws in a different. He usually switches somebody else off on, in this case, Dylan Brooks, so that you have somebody else that's trying to defend. Maybe they have better luck. Tollefson had 2 defensive breakdowns against Dylan Brooks. So I wonder if Tollefson would have been better off on Brooks or not. Ristic, he had. I don't think he had any defensive breakdowns against Dylan Brooks. So Ristic might have been kind of helpful in that situation. But there was just that was a big killer. I mean, if you look at, there's one other thing that was kind of, well, there's a couple of things that were interesting to me. Is one was the University of Arizona Wildcats had, I think, 41 shot attempts, and the Oregon Ducks had 62 shot attempts. So huge difference there, and one of the reasons why there was such a huge difference there, as far as the U of A, why there were so many more opportunities for the Ducks to get those shots off, is 19 turnovers for the Arizona Wildcats. 19 turnovers. 5 of those defensive turnovers were from Kadeem Allen. 5 of those defensive turnovers were, or 5 of those turnovers were against Anderson. Anderson was the highest scorer, though. So Anderson had 22 points. The second highest scorer was Gabe York with 18, and the third highest scorer was Tarczewski with 11 points. So that was kind of interesting. But so anyway, we had 19 turnovers for the U of A Wildcats, and the Oregon Ducks scored 21 points off those 19 turnovers that the Oregon Ducks scored 21 points off those 19 turnovers that the U of A had. That's a huge amount of turnovers. So it was just the Oregon Ducks were so aggressive, extremely aggressive in this game. And it wasn't just one, actually, player. I think there was 5 players that were in double figures for the Oregon Ducks. We had Dylan Brooks with I think 22 or 24 points, and then Benjamin with 15, and then I think Cook had 13, and then I know that Boucher had 10. Dorsey had 12. Dorsey is their guard, was the only guard that made big contributions from what I saw. I mean, the other guard actually, I saw made some, he made, I think, 3 assists, and Dorsey also made 3 assists. So, and if you look at the amount of assists, we had the University of Arizona Wildcats had 18 assists compared to the Oregon Ducks, which only had 9 assists. So that was confusing. Twice the amount of twice the amount of assists for the Arizona Wildcats. Um, so there was some serious breakdown going on, and like I said, 21 more shot opportunities available for the Oregon Ducks as compared to the University of Arizona Wildcats. So the University of Arizona had 19 turnovers. So that was one of the reasons why the Oregon Ducks had so many more opportunities. The Oregon Ducks had 6 turnovers in total for the whole game. So they did very good at taking care of the ball, and that's one thing that the U of A was really bad at this game, was trying to take care of the ball. They just did not take care of the ball very well. The Oregon Ducks, another thing that was really big for the Oregon Ducks was 9 steals. The Oregon Ducks had 9 steals. So that was, and the University of Arizona Cats only had 1 steal the whole game. So that was another thing that that shows that the Oregon Ducks were focused on their plan, trying to shut down the University of Arizona Wildcats, and they did pretty much. They were able to do that pretty much. So it was just like I said, nine steals for the Oregon Ducks and 21 points off of 19 turnovers for the University of Arizona Wildcats. Just killers. And Dylan Brooks, he's the one. He's the one for the Oregon Ducks that he pretty much single-handedly is the one that killed the Arizona Wildcats in this game. I know that Coach Miller was so concerned about Boucher, but Boucher only had 10 points, but that was maybe because we were not putting so much pressure on him in the second half, because a lot of those, I think, 8 of those 10 points or something like that from Boucher were in the second half. So anyway, we gotta figure out a system for Dylan Brooks next time. Maybe get someone else to defend against Dylan Brooks. Have a little bit more luck. Dylan Brooks is smaller than Anderson, so he was able to get a little bit faster than Anderson, and he made Anderson pay. 7 defensive breakdowns for Anderson off of Dylan Brooks, and that was that was nasty. That was the killer of the game. So the Arizona Wildcats lose this game against the Oregon Ducks. The final score: Arizona Wildcats 75 to the Oregon Ducks 83.